Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're zooming in on the global food supply chain. And specifically, we're looking at a massive, often totally invisible issue that hits both the environment and corporate balance sheets. We're going to dig into the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, or SASB, Standard for Food Retailers, to figure out exactly how the biggest players track what they throw away. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture a perfectly ripe, bright red tomato sitting under the fluorescent lights of a grocery store. Visually, it looks fine, right? But as the hours tick by and that tomato begins to slowly spoil, it represents something much larger. Every second that tomato rots on a shelf, a cash register is essentially ringing in reverse. It's a direct, literal loss of money, time, and resources. So, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The cost of rotting food. 2. Defining retail food waste. 3. Measuring the mess. 4. Rescue and diversion strategies. And 5. The bottom line impact. All right, jumping right into Section 1, the cost of rotting food. When food is lost during transport, stocking, or just sitting there on store shelves, it is not just trash. According to the SASB standard, this is a massive leakage of corporate capital and a total loss of saleable merchandise. But even more critically, you're losing embedded resources. Think about everything that went into that single tomato: the land, the water, the human labor, the energy to transport it. When food hits the bin, all of those resources are just wasted. Plus, rotting food in landfills directly compounds greenhouse gas emissions and worsens global food insecurity. Moving on to Section 2, defining retail food waste. Now, what's really fascinating here is the incredibly precise language the standard uses. Food waste is defined as food and inedible parts for which the entity has no further use that are removed from the food supply chain. The absolutely crucial takeaway: food actually includes substances originally intended for human consumption, even if it's spoiled. If it was meant for us to eat and it gets tossed, it goes straight on the ledger as food waste. To translate all this corporate accounting speak into everyday grocery terms, we have to separate food from inedible parts. Food is, the stuff meant for consumption. Inedible parts are things like bones, rinds, or fruit pits. But here is a super interesting detail from the SASB framework. What's considered inedible actually varies widely among entities and regions. It totally changes based on culture, socioeconomic factors, tech advances, and international trade. So the actual definition of waste adapts to local cultural habits. And then we have this entirely distinct category: unsaleable food. It's vital to differentiate this from standard waste. Unsaleable food is completely safe to eat, but the retailer just can't sell it. Why? Well, maybe it's a bruised apple, maybe the bakery overproduced muffins, or maybe a soup can has a typo on the label. It is perfectly safe, but from a financial standpoint, it's blocked from the traditional retail checkout. Okay, Section 3, measuring the mess. So how do we fix it? Well, accountability always starts with hard numbers. There's a specific metric code for this, FB FR 158.1. This standard requires food retailers and distributors to report the total weight of food waste and unsaleable food generated, and they have to report it in metric tons. As the old saying goes, you can't manage what you don't accurately measure. The standard outlines several approved measurement and approximation methods to calculate those metric tons. Retailers can use direct weighting, counting, and volume assessments, or detailed waste composition analysis. For calculations, they might rely on mass balance, proxy data, or complex modeling. The whole goal is to get a highly accurate picture of exactly how much physical material is leaking right out of the profit stream. Let's transition to the solutions phase in Section 4, rescue and diversion strategies. Remember that unsaleable food we just talked about? The mislabeled cans and those bruised apples? The absolute best-case scenario for these items is to become rescued food. This means that perfectly good, unsaleable food has been successfully donated to social service agencies or charitable organizations. The retailer discloses the percentage of unsaleable food that was rescued, which directly improves community food security instead of just adding to a landfill. And this brilliantly illustrates the strict boundaries of corporate sustainability. Retailers must report the percentage of food waste diverted from the waste stream. Acceptable diversion includes stuff like using it for animal feed, making bio-based industrial products, composting, or tilling it back into the soil. But look at the not diverted category. Obviously, landfilling or dumping it into the sea won't cut it. But get this: even incinerating food to recover energy is explicitly considered not diverted by the SASB standards. No shortcuts allowed.
So let's walk through an actual diversion process, like anaerobic digestion. Step 1, you ensure the packaging is fully separated from the food waste, because of course, packaging doesn't count toward these specific metrics. Step 2, bacteria breaks down the organic waste in a totally oxygen-free environment. Step 3, this generates usable biogas and nutrient-rich matter. It's just a fantastic example of taking what was a rotting liability and transforming it back into a highly valuable resource.
And finally, Section 5, the bottom line impact. So, what does this all mean for the big picture? It's summarized beautifully in this quote straight from the disclosure standard. Effective food waste management can present financial opportunities to reduce costs associated with inventory loss, as well as help improve food security. It's really a dual mandate. Tracking metrics like FBR 15.81 isn't just some boring exercise in regulatory compliance. It's a literal roadmap for recovering lost profits while simultaneously doing a vital social good. I want to leave you with this final thought today. Next time you're wandering down the produce aisle, take a good look at the items sitting on the shelf. Knowing the hidden costs of the embedded water, the hours of human labor, the agricultural capital, and the strict accounting required when it fails to sell, what is the true price tag of a Bruce apple? It's definitely a lot more than the sticker price. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking the big questions.